Welcome viewers, Dr. JW Ayub, theologist since 1994. Like and subscribe to help the channel. Comment to educate me and share to help somebody else. Albanese, Gaza and the letter that exposed the underlay. Political behavioural analysis. Albanese's al-Adha letter, if you're not sure about it or know about it, this will fill you in, was not merely a religious greeting. It was a political message wrapped in ceremonial language. The surface tone was unity, sacrifice, peace and respect, but beneath the language sat a far more serious question. Why did a message to Australian Muslims pivot specifically toward Gaza? Not Sudan, not Yemen, not Syria, not broader Muslim suffering across the world, Gaza. That selection matters, viewers, because political leaders reveal priority not only by what they say, but by what they choose to ritualize publicly. The issue is not whether Palestinian civilians deserve compassion, they do. The issue is whether Albanese's repeated Gaza emphasis reveals a pro-Palestinian political underlay operating through national leadership messaging while being presented as neutral humanitarian concern. And that becomes even more serious after Bondi, because when anti-Semitic threat, public fear and social cohesion are under national scrutiny, leadership language must be examined with sharper moral discipline. A Prime Minister cannot afford selective empathy. He cannot emotionally centre one geopolitical suffering while Jewish Australians are asking whether government saw the rising danger clearly enough. And this is where the letter becomes politically revealing. It says, in effect, that all Australians join in this hope. But that is not true in the way the sentence implies. A Prime Minister may speak to all Australians, he may govern on behalf of all Australians, but he cannot truthfully absorb the conscience, grief, politics and foreign policy instincts of every Australian citizen into one contested geopolitical framing. Many Australians want peace, but not all Australians agree with Albanese's Gaza emphasis, his diplomatic posture, his emotional framing, or the political direction beneath the message. So when he says all Australians, the wording moves from representation into presumption. And that is the legitimacy problem. The letter does not simply express compassion. It selects Gaza, it elevates Gaza, it inserts Gaza into a sacred religious occasion, then it implies national agreement around the emotional frame. Viewers, after Bondi, that cannot be treated as innocent ceremonial language. It must be examined as part of a wider national question. Did the Albanese government recognise the rising anti-Semitic danger clearly, or was it too politically invested and willfully blind in the Palestinian under the Palestinian frame to see what was forming inside Australia? See, the question is, was the Albanese government willfully blind to the oncoming massacre? Because just being a normal Australian, I could see that. And this is the behavioural political pressure point. Willful blindness does not always look like open hostility. Sometimes it looks like emotional over-attention in one direction and threat under recognition in another. A leader can intend compassion and still create imbalance. A government can speak peace and still fail to protect trust. And once citizens begin to believe compassion is being politically selected, public trust begins to fracture. So, Albanese did not merely send a ed message. He selected Gaza, placed it inside religious diplomacy, implied national agreement, and exposed a political underlay many Australians never consented to carry. So let me ask, and let me ask you to think, compassion becomes dangerous when it stops being morally universal, becomes politically selective, and then claims the voice of Australians who never agreed to the message. I'm Dr. JWA, theologist. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next talk.